Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of Mets Musings.
And hello and welcome to another edition of Mets Musings number 288. And what can I say? What baseball god did the Mets tick off to deserve what's happening to them this year? We'll get back to that in just a minute, but first, some sad news out of the Mets Nation. Pete Flynn, who tended all three of the Mets home fields, head groundskeeper for a number of years. He drove the Beatles from the stage at Shea Stadium, became a cherished part of the franchise that he served for 6 decades, died Wednesday morning, the team said. He was 79 years old. Flynn began working for the club in 1962, months before the first game at the Polo Grounds. He was the head groundskeeper for many years, including the stretch of 1974-75 when the Mets, Jets, Yankees, and Giants shared Shea Stadium. When he had a chance to retire, he went back to being a part of the crew and stayed on until 2011. He was honored with the Mets Hall of Fame Achievement Award in 2012, and 3 years later he was inducted into Major League Baseball's Groundskeeping Hall of Fame. He was there so long that he was the one who drove the Beatles from the stage to an armored car behind a center field fence at their landmark 1965 concert. He also was the one who drove Paul McCartney to the stage for a surprise appearance during a Billy Joel concert at Shea in 2008. He's actually in the movie Last Play at Shea, the movie that Billy Joel made about that concert. And there's a piece of video of him driving Paul McCartney and telling him the story. Mets Chief Operating Officer Jeff Wilpon said in a statement, "Pete helped make our fields one of the best in baseball. He took such pride in his work and was a pro's pro." Tom Seaver always said Shea Stadium's mound had no equal. That's a pretty good endorsement. So Pete Flynn died Wednesday. He was 79 years old. So our condolences go out to him and his family. And the Mets dropped 3-4 to Washington in a brutal weekend last week, then went to L.A., and they dropped the first 3 there, 6 out of the last 7. Tonight they go for the final game in L.A. and then move on to San Francisco. And none of these games have been close. They've been blowouts. The pitchers have been hit all over the place. I don't know what's going on this year. Guys that did the job last year are not doing it this year. It's just a total meltdown. The starting pitches in disarray again, and now we have another name to add to the disabled list as the Mets placed Zach Wheeler on a 10-day disabled list with a bicep tendonitis, and optioned infielder Matt Reynolds to AAA Las Vegas. In corresponding move, the Mets have called up pitchers Tyler Pill, who pitched last night, and Eric Goodell from Las Vegas. Sandy Olson told reporters that Wheeler has been dealing with moderate tendonitis over the last few days and is expected to miss only one start. But right now he joins Syndergaard and Harvey, and then Lord only knows when those two are going to come back. Syndergaard still can't pick up a ball for another 3 weeks. Harvey, stressed injury or a break to the scapular bone, so we don't know how long that's going to take to heal and when he'll be coming back. David Wright's still on the disabled list, though at this point I think we should write him off. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of injuries and to the key players this season. It's just incredible, and the bullpen is completely fallen apart with Familia out and the starters not being able to get to get late into a game and forcing Terry Collins to use more of the bullpen. And to me, Sandy Alderson's not doing his job. He's got to get some more players. He's got to get some different players. And I think at this point, the Mets have to be sellers come the trade deadline. But we'll get into that in a minute. First, I want to play an email, a voicemail, I should say. First, I want to play a voicemail from a good friend, Trip, in Kentucky, and he about sums it all up for the season so far.
Hey, Gary, it's Trip in Kentucky. Hadn't talked to you in a while, so thought I'd give you a call. And it's been a fatal fortnight for our Mets. I remember before the Atlanta series, I'd kind of given up on the season. It just didn't seem like they had it. And then after Matz and Lugo and Cespedes came back and we started winning some games, I had some hope again. And I thought, maybe we'd really just been unfortunate those first 2 months, and now we'd get to see the real team play. But after being up until 1:30 the last 3 nights, watching us get swept by the Dodgers and then losing 3 or 4 against the Nationals, I'm back to the no hope for the year. So I'm anticipating that a big chunk of this team is going to get traded in the next month before the deadline. And so my question for you is, do you think management at that point may consider like just a change in philosophy, maybe moving away from that pure power approach? I saw last week where we were ranked like 5th in the majors in home runs, but we're so far below 500, we're not in contention. And then just like with Syndergaard, pure power and blows out a shoulder. I don't know. It just seems to me like maybe they could start trying to get more for contact average, and I don't know. Just wondered if you thought that would be a possibility. Would they consider changing things? Well, even though it's been an awful year, I've really enjoyed the podcast. Thank you for doing that. It's nice to know someone else is sharing in your misery, I guess. Well, thanks, Gary. Have a good week.
And thank you, Trip, for checking in, and I do share in your misery. Do I think they'll get away from the power approach? No, but I think they should. I agree with you. They need to get more contact hitters. I think baseball right now is it's in where they all want power hitters and power pitchers. That may change in a few years. What you need is to have a guy come along, a pitcher that, doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, but is pitches by guile and throws in the mid to low 90s and can get people out and dominate, and then maybe they'll start looking at those guys again. There's a big emphasis on home runs. We see the home runs flying out of the Dodger Stadium. Never did that before. That used to be a pitcher's ballpark. Now it looks like Cincinnati or Philadelphia there. I think the ball is juiced. I think they want more home runs. Sometimes they confuse me, though. They want to pick up the pace of the game, but they're willing to have all these home runs go out to get people excited. Well, home runs take time then. So I don't know where they're coming from with that, but that's the deal. And as far as the pitches, I believe, look, they keep saying about Dominic Smith, he hasn't found his power yet. Who cares? The guy's hitting over 300. Keith Hernandez never hit more than 19 home runs or 20 home runs in a season. Yet he was a pretty decent first baseman, wasn't he? Why do we got to push this kid to hit home runs? This is how they almost ruined Conforto. This is why Conforto went down last year. Because they got him pull happy. And while I agree with you, they have to look in the other direction, I don't think Alderson's the guy for that. Alderson is a power guy. He likes power hitters. He likes power pitchers. You need a mix of both. and we need better defense. But Alderson doesn't care about defense. Let's be honest about this. He doesn't care about it. He's just interested in offense and power hitters. We need a stronger infield defense. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to bring up Rosario, because he knows Rosario might tighten the defense up a little bit. I mean, think about it. We got a 35-year-old shortstop that's coming back tomorrow, who's been on a disabled list once or twice, and he's being replaced by a 34-year-old shortstop who can't hit his weight anymore and doesn't have the range that he used to have. We need to get some youth. We need to get a little bit more speed on this team, and we need to get tighter defense. If you're going to build your team around pitchers, you have to have a defense behind them so they're confident to make a pitch and not try to hit corners so they miss bats all the time. And this team was supposedly built on pitching. So let's take the next step and get some good defense in there. And if Dominic Smith can play the defensive position and he's only going to hit 12 home runs, so be it. If he hits 280 or 300, who cares? How many runs are you going to drive in? That's what's going to be the important thing. But, we saw it last year. We got rid of Herrera to get Jay Bruce. Now, Jay Bruce has played a good outfield. Got to give him credit. But he's not a Gold Glove right fielder by any means, but he's a power hitter. You watch Cespedes, you shake your head sometimes. I don't know how he won a Gold Glove. I don't think he's a very good outfielder, but he won a Gold Glove. But there you go. Another so-so outfielder that's a power hitter. So I think the Mets have to go in a different direction, I think, and it goes throughout the minor leagues. The Brooklyn Cyclones had 6 errors last night. Yes, they won the game, and at that level, look, that level, you're going to see a lot of errors because they're just young, they're exuberant, it's their first or second year in pro ball. They want to show off their arms. They want to, they think they can get to everything. So you're going to see errors. But, you got to start somewhere training these kids and start at the lower level. But I think this organization is on the wrong track with that kind of thing. You got to teach them how to bunt. You got to teach them how to steal bases. You got to tell them how to run the bases. And I don't see any of that going on. It's possible that it is, there's a lot of close practices, who knows. But you don't see the results of it. You certainly don't see the results at the major league level. So it's time for change of philosophy. Maybe it's a time for a change, period, in a general manager's job. All right, let's take a break. And I'll be back right after these messages.
Looking for great Cardinals talk? Then check out Conversations with C70. My name's Daniel Shoftaw, and I talk with some of the great bloggers on the internet today about their teams, but it always goes back to the Cardinals. Find the latest episode on my website, www.cardinal70.com, or at baseballpodcast.net.
Did you know that Baseball PhD can be heard on baseballtalkradio.com?
Our shows rotate with other top baseball podcasts.
Now don't forget, that's baseballtalkradio.com.
With us, we'll help you get a PhD in life through baseball.
With baseballtalkradio.com, you'll hear the rest of the excellent universe of baseball podcasts.
516-619-6341. That is the comment voicemail hotline if you'd like to be a part of the show, and drop us a line, leave us a comment or a voicemail question, anything at all. Call that number 516-619-6341, or go to MetsMusings.com and click on that widget in the middle of the screen, and that's a speak pipe, and you can leave a voicemail right through your computer through your computer's microphone. Or if you prefer, To do things the old-fashioned way, send us an email at metsmusings@gmail.com. The Facebook page is facebook.com/groups/MetsMusings, and the Twitter handle is at MetsMusings1.
With all the Mets news, it is the news from around the world and around the corner. Here's Gary Mack.
Okay, and we're back. And so all that being said, I guess the question is, what do the Mets do? Where do they go from here? Well, I wrote a blog post that's going up, I think, Sunday or maybe early at Max Mets. So if you want to check that at maxmets.blogspot.com, you can check that out Sunday or check it out every day and read. There's some good stuff on that website, Max Mets. So go check it out and you'll see my solutions to some of these problems I think may work. And some of them are they have to move the available free agents that they have that are contracts running out at the end of the year. They have to try to move Bruce and Duda and perhaps Grandison. And look, if they got an offer for Cespedes, I would take it. And I'll tell you why, because if you can get somebody to take the contract that frees up money, then if you want to, you could approach Bruce and try to sign him at a lesser amount than what you paid Cespedes, so you'd still have your power. You just have it from the other side of the plate, and you'd have money to go out, either get some more relief pitchers or get starters. They have to refill their farm system. They have to get some more talent in there, some prospects, because now after Rosario and Smith, there's going to be a gap for a while. Nobody outstanding. There's some good players at Double A, but nobody what you call a great prospect right now. And then there's some in St. Lucie and Columbia that could be potentially good players, high draft picks, but they're just getting started, getting a taste, so we don't know how they're going to react, and they're a few years away. So he's got to try to move some of these players, even a Walker. If Walker comes back, has a good month before the deadline, then perhaps, if you can move him, somebody's interested in Cabrera, move him. Nobody should be sacred at this point in time. Nobody. Anybody should be available. Maybe the only ones perhaps would be Syndergaard and DeGrom, of course. The only pitcher that they have right now that's been of any worth, if you will. So that's my solution. I go into a little bit more detail at maxmets.blogspot.com. Check it out. It should be up either Sunday or perhaps earlier. 8th round pick in this year's draft, Trey Cobb. 8th round pick, of the Mets in this draft. Threw a bullpen session Tuesday morning in Port St. Lucie, then accompanied by 6 other selections from last week's draft. He flew to New York in the late afternoon, was at MCU Park for the end of the Brooklyn Cyclones home opener. They have not been put on the roster yet, whoever the unknown 6 were. And Trey Cobb, not on the Cyclones roster quite yet, but probably going to be added quite soon. And we'll see guys being sent down to Kingsport, and maybe there's a couple of guys that are on a rehab assignment in Brooklyn that'll be going back to Columbia or Port St. Lucie. So watch for that. Mets general manager announced that that pitching coach Dan Warthen is not in danger of losing his job. The Mets enter play Thursday with the second worst ERA in the National League. He's part of the solution, Alderson told reporters at Dodger Stadium. He's part of the group of people, including the pitchers as well as the coaching staff, who are trying to figure out how to get this staff back to where we expected it to be. Well, maybe we need some fresh eyes on the situation. maybe he's not part of the solution. Maybe we need somebody that had these guys in the minor leagues that might be able to see something that nobody's noticing here. Maybe it's time for Frank Viola to be named pitching coach of the Mets. He knows the pitchers. He's had them before, so it's nothing out of the new for him. He's been a pitching coach, for 3-4 years now in Las Vegas, so he knows what he's doing. Maybe it's his time. Maybe next year we'll see a change over the winter, but I would make the change sooner rather than later, so you don't completely lose the fan base. And let's take a look at the organizational leaders in the Mets. Ian Strom of Brooklyn, he's hitting .500. Carlos Sanchez in Brooklyn, .333. Now, keep in mind, it's only based on 2 games. Ahmed Rosario in Vegas is hitting .325. Dominic Smith in Vegas hitting .323. Johan Urena in St. Lucie having a good year, hitting .308. Patrick Masica in St. Lucie hitting .303. Kevin Kazmarski in Binghamton, .294. Michael Paez, Columbia, is hitting .290, and he just got promoted to Port St. Lucie, so congratulations to Michael Paez. In home runs, Dash Winningham, Columbia, has 11. Travis Tayron of Vegas has 11. Josh Rodriguez in Vegas has 9. Michael Paez in Columbia has 8. RBIs, Armando Rosario, Vegas has 48. He leads the organization. Dash Winningham in Columbia, 46. Dominic Smith, Vegas, 44. So he's not hitting home runs, but he's got 44 RBIs. Okay. But we have to work with him because he's not hitting for enough power. Let the guy hit. Just let him be. Home runs will come. They're going to ruin Dominic Smith because they're going to try to get him the pull and become a power hitter, and it's going to be another Ike Davis. They ruined Ike Davis, and watch him ruin Dominic Smith. All right, let's take a look at the steals. Champ Stewart in Binghamton, 20. Patrick Biondi, former Cyclone. He's at Binghamton. He's got 14. Ahmad Rosario at Vegas has 12. Another former Cyclone. John Mora, another former Cyclone. At St. Lucie, he has 10. In the pitching department, Jordan Humphreys, who just got promoted, he's got the low ERA at 1.42. Randy Gonzalez, Columbia, is 1.55. Tyler Pill was Vegas at 1.171. Corey Oswald at Binghamton with a 2.45 ERA. Wins Jordan Humphreys again. He's going to Port St. Lucie. He's had 10 wins at Columbia. And Randy Gonzalez at Columbia had 8 saves. Jason Bradford with Vegas has 9. Taylor Basher at St. Lucie has 7. Alberto Baldonado at Vegas had 6. Johnny Magliosi at St. Lucie at 6. And Adonis Ucita with Columbia, he also had 6. And in strikeouts, Jordan Humphreys with Columbia had 80. Nabil Chrismat at St. Lucie has 77. Randy Gonzalez, he's a guy that you're going to have to watch. Columbia at 65. P.J. Conlon, Binghamton, 62. And Blake Taylor with Columbia, 52. Randy Gonzalez is the guy you're going to have to watch. He'll be a man on the move. They're probably going to fast-track him along with Marcus Molina, another pitcher that they're going to fast-track. Jordan Humphreys, as I said, going to St. Lucie. Keep an eye on him. Nabil Chrismat could be another guy to keep an eye on because I think you'll be hearing that name over and over again. So, where do we go from here? Well, not too many places. I mean, we watch, we listen, we hope that there are changes coming, that Sandy Alderson will make some move and not ponder everything until it's too late and can't make a trade like Jonathan LaCroix. But we sit and wait for that and hope that he can do something. All right, the Mets remain out in the West Coast. They play the Dodgers tonight in the last game of the series, then play 3 in San Francisco. They're off Monday, and then they go to Miami for 3 before coming home on June 30th, I believe, to play the Philadelphia Phillies. So we'll be back next week to tell you more, and hopefully it'll be a better week, and we won't be so depressed as Met fans. Well, that does it for this edition of the podcast. This edition is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you would like to help in keeping this podcast going, I urge you to check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MetsMusings. So thanks for listening to this episode, and until next time, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets.